You know, it sounds weird to say, but the MC was so close to her goal of being a villain this episode. The first couple of episodes, there's a couple of sly remarks you might be able to say, that's a little villainess-y. But in general, she ain't no villainess. She's just not good at being a villainess. Let's be honest. But then she threatened to kill a kid in this episode. And I don't know what that says, if it says a lot about me, or if it just says a lot about, hey, if she's gonna be evil, that's actually the appropriate way to do it. Now granted, she could have went a little more extreme, she could have threw the kid against a wall, or there's a lot of ways to make that truly villainessy and, threaten the kid's life, say if you don't serve me, blah blah blah. That's what an evil character would do. And at the end of the day, we ended with her cleaning his pillowcase. I understand that some people are like, hey, she just does not feel like a villainess. But that's like most of these shows, they never are the villainess. And I appreciate they didn't just go like the Baccarina route where she's truly an idiot. No, she's actually quite competent and intelligent. It's just, I think she's so bad with social situations that she truly doesn't understand what good and evil is. And to be honest, I think I'm fully here for this one. I have full live reactions over on Patreon if you want to see my full and good thought to any of these episodes. It's over there exclusively. So, pleasant surprise for me last week for sure. And now we have a bit better of an understanding of where the show wants to go. Now, sometimes with these villainess anime, there is a school aspect to it. But typically the school aspect I find, I mean not always, but a lot of times it may be they're at a school but there's more adventuring to it sort of a thing. I don't know, they go dungeon crawling or they gotta do something, right? So from what I'm gathering, it is actually going to be a pretty normal school setting backdrop. They're already talking about fairs and stuff like that, but at the end of the day, it's nothing too crazy. So this episode kind of gets you a bit more to see what maybe the school side is going to have to offer, while also showing clearly how RMC is definitely changing the course of where a game like this would go. So, it doesn't seem like she completely stole the role of the MC, which is what I was getting the impression was going to happen, because it's usually what happens in these types of shows. I mean, we have a 10-year-old kid currently, we end the episode 3-year time skip, so now she's up to 13. But at the same time, we basically have a kid who's already using advanced level magic, and apparently that's something that shouldn't happen. But she didn't do something to the point that she, stole completely the eyes of the general public here, because the MC, the heroine, can use every type of magic, and she's a commoner. It's something that's clearly she's the chosen one, and they acknowledge she is the chosen one. But they're also adding her into the mix because she's clearly more advanced and doing things that are, really uncommon and probably shouldn't happen. It's not impossible, but it's enough of an anomaly. And they end the episode pretty much forcing these two together, and it seems like our MC is going to be watching over the heroine. And it'll be interesting to see what they do, because I get the impression they're not going to go the route of they're changing their tune over the course of the show, and they're actually going to say, you know what, the villainess RMC, she's actually the chosen. No, I really think it's going to be a dual-led, whatever the plot's doing, they're both going to be required. But it's interesting because there's actually some potential for our MC to get this girl into some deep hot water, because what she ended up doing was she's like, hey, we should do a little magic performance, blah blah blah. Cut 2 minutes later, apparently there was a bit of an accident and the teachers had to calm her down. So we learn in this episode that magic is actually something you don't mess with. You don't if you do level 15 spells, you never attempt level 20. You have to go in order, else bad things can occur. And it will be interesting because, we have a girl who by the end of this episode is up to level 80, she says. I'm waiting for her to, casually do the Emilia black hole in the sky or something like that. If you catch that reference, you got good taste. I don't know exactly. It's very hard to say where they want to go plot-wise, because always in these types of shows, the MC's supposed to stop some great evil or something like that's going to happen because she's the chosen one. But they are twisting it enough where it's okay, you're not going what usually happens, which is, who's supposed to be the villainess now is in the protagonist's driver's seat. No, the protagonist is still in the driver's seat, but now the villainess, rather than being a rival, is supporting. And throughout that support, there's two things that could occur. Her advice is going to cause some bad shit to occur and just ruin this girl's life. But because that's what she would probably want, I doubt that's going to happen. Or she's going to, you know, excel this girl's life, and they're going to be the best of friends, whether she likes it or not. And along the way, there's going to be this little kid who's now waiting on her hand and foot because she cleaned his pillowcase rather than properly threatening him, and all the extra romantic rivals that come with it. The show, at the end of the day, I don't think it's the craziest thing I've seen from a Villainess anime, but it definitely entertains me, and it does enough that makes me say, okay, I think I know where you're going, and then I'm like, why am I disappointed that the girl ain't a savage bitch right now? Like, what? This episode had the most moments where she truly had outbursts, or she was the first moment in this episode where I was like, you know what, maybe she's actually gonna fit this role. You know what, the joke's on me, pie's on my face. So when the heroine's over, and you know, they're like in the little study room, she's actually kind of being rude. She's being a little snappy. She's just being blunt, saying it how it is, and they're actually responding like, hey, you know, watch your mouth, you gotta chill out here. And I'm like, okay, shit. She might think her villainess answers about writing on a chalkboard, which I still don't know how that's villainessy, but the girl ain't normal. And it's just like, yeah, of course, every step of the way, it ain't gonna be me. I mean, I do understand, like, I may not agree with the opinion, but I understand the opinion that, hey, she thinks she's being evil, but clearly, like, most of the shit she's doing is, like, the farthest thing. That's not funny to you? These types of shows just aren't for you. Totally get it. I disagree, but totally get the opinion. But, you know, I think for me, the fun of a show like this is rooting for her to actually do the thing she's trying. And if they ever give us that, like, success of, oh shit, she actually committed to a villainousy, mean thing, and now she has to deal with the consequences of being a bitch. I doubt it will ever happen, but if they ever do sneak in a W, which will turn out to be an L, I'm very much excited for that. I don't know, like, this show, I've now seen 3 episodes. It's not reinventing the wheel, but at the same time, this Villainess anime is doing a lot that you don't exactly see. And that's really all I need from these shows, because, I don't know, like, I find, especially when it's just more on the typical, like, hey, here's just clearly a reverse harem, I'm good without those, to be honest. I mean, harems in general, often I'm really not, unless there's more of a comedic direction. So I'm vibing with this, and I appreciate the fact that this is something that I can't recall. I mean, I'm going through the list in my head of all the things I've tried. There's a lot of shit I tried and just never talked about because I just didn't vibe with them. But the idea of keeping the MC as the MC, but then forcing the villainess to be the supporter, that actually does feel a little new, I'm not gonna lie. But, you know what? She tried to kill a kid this week, so maybe there's hope for her yet to be a villainessy bitch. Thoughts down below. Be sure to leave a like if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new around here. Of course, ring that bell. And like I mentioned, we have full live reactions over on Patreon. And hey, while you're over there, I'll give you a video shout out. Alright, so today we got Tobias Reinhold, Flavdorks 414, Wen2X, Drift, I'm definitely going to butcher this one, Ukondo Itsudzi, Jesse Wright, Peacock, and we also have Simulcrum. So I appreciate the support, everyone. Please take care. Y'all have a good one.